I would like you now to take these lines and see if you can draw.
Welcome back to my channel. Something is seriously shifting behind the scenes of the sister wives world, and this time, it's not just emotional drama. It's financial, it's personal, and it's starting to look like everything is finally catching up to Kody Brown. For years, viewers watched him present this image of control, confidence, and leadership over a plural family that once seemed united under shared values. But now, that image is cracking and fast. Reports and insider whispers suggest that Kody is no longer standing on solid ground financially. In fact, things have allegedly gotten so bad that he's struggling just to maintain the lifestyle he built with Robyn Brown. And we're not talking about a modest life. We're talking about a lifestyle filled with expensive tastes, luxury comforts, and high-end expectations, especially when it comes to Robyn's household and her children. The kind of lifestyle that doesn't just drain money, it consumes it. And then came the shocker, something no one saw coming. Kody has reportedly been asked to leave his own residence. Yes, you heard that right. The man who once positioned himself as the head of this entire family is now facing the kind of instability that raises serious questions. What went wrong? How did things spiral to this point? What makes this even more intense is Robyn's reaction. According to what's being said, she's now in a completely different emotional state, apologetic, overwhelmed, even desperate. There are claims that she's been seen breaking down, expressing regret, and promising to walk away from the very luxurious lifestyle that once defined her role in the family. It's a dramatic shift from the image viewers have seen for years. But the real twist? It doesn't stop there. In what might be the most unexpected move of all, Kody has allegedly turned to someone from his past, someone viewers know very well, Janelle Brown. Yes, the same Janelle who walked away, who built her independence, who distanced herself from the chaos. Kody has reportedly reached out to her, not for reconciliation, not for emotional closure, but for money. Let that sink in. This isn't just about financial hardship anymore. This is about a complete role reversal. The man who once divided resources, made decisions for multiple households, and controlled the family's direction is now in a position where he's asking for help from someone he once had authority over. And naturally, fans are asking the big question, how did it come to this? Because if you've been following this story closely, you already know, this didn't happen overnight. This has been building for years. The spending, the favoritism, the lifestyle choices, it all led somewhere. And now it looks like we're finally seeing the consequences unfold in real time. If you really step back and look at the bigger picture, none of this feels completely out of nowhere. In fact, the warning signs have been there for years, hidden beneath luxury, buried under appearances, and often overlooked because of the show's carefully crafted narrative. But now that everything is starting to unravel, fans are going back and connecting the dots, and what they're seeing is raising serious questions. Let's talk about the lifestyle. At one point, the Brown family was known for struggling. Long before fame, before cameras, before the polished image, there were real financial hardships. Bankruptcy wasn't just a rumor, it was a reality. Both Kody Brown and Meri Brown filed for bankruptcy back in 2005, and even Janelle Brown faced the same situation years earlier. They knew what it meant to struggle, to rebuild, to survive with very little. But somewhere along the way, everything changed. Especially after Robyn Brown entered the picture. Suddenly, the family's financial behavior started shifting, and not in a small way. We're talking about a complete transformation from modest living to something far more extravagant. One of the biggest examples? That massive home in Flagstaff, Arizona. Not just a house, a full-blown mansion, packed with high-end features, luxury finishes, and yes, even a heated driveway. The price tag? A staggering $2. $1 million. And just the down payment alone was enough to make most people pause, over $400,000 upfront. That's not just spending. That's a statement. And it didn't stop there. Before that, they had already sold another luxury property for around $1. $6 million again, filled with premium features that most families wouldn't even consider. These weren't one-time decisions. This was a pattern. A lifestyle that kept growing bigger, more expensive, and harder to sustain. So now, fans are asking the obvious question: where did all the money actually go? Because when you compare that level of spending to where things stand today, with reports of financial strain, instability, and even desperation, it doesn't add up. Something clearly shifted behind the scenes. And this is where things get even more controversial. Online communities, especially fan discussions, have started speculating about what might have really been happening during those years of heavy spending. Some believe that while the family appeared united on the surface, there may have been financial decisions being made quietly, possibly even strategically, before the relationships began falling apart. Now, to be clear, there's no confirmed proof of anything intentional or hidden. But the speculation alone is loud. People are questioning whether expensive purchases, like art, designer items, and luxury assets, were simply lifestyle choices, or something more calculated. Something meant to secure a future that didn't include everyone equally. And when you combine that with the current situation, Cody struggling, Robyn apologizing, and the sudden shift in power dynamics, it starts to feel like we're only seeing the surface of a much deeper story. Because this isn't just about money anymore. It's about trust, control, and everything that may have been happening behind closed doors while the cameras were rolling. And this is where the situation takes an even darker turn, because it's no longer just about money or lifestyle choices. Now, it's about perception. Public perception. And right now, that perception is not working in favor of Kody Brown and Robyn Brown. Across online communities, especially among longtime viewers of Sister Wives, the tone has shifted dramatically. Fans who once defended the family, who once believed in the idea of unity and shared values, are now openly questioning everything they see. And they're not holding back. One of the biggest criticisms? The growing belief that Cody and Robyn have been living a completely different life compared to the rest of the family. While other wives were downsizing, rebuilding, or finding independence, Cody and Robyn appeared to be doing the opposite, leaning deeper into a lifestyle that looked more like something out of Hollywood than a plural family built on equality. Expensive homes, luxury items, and a level of comfort that didn't seem evenly distributed. And fans noticed. They really noticed. In fact, some viewers have gone as far as comparing them to other controversial reality TV families, ones that faced serious legal trouble due to financial misconduct. Now, to be absolutely clear, there are no official charges or confirmed wrongdoing here. But the fact that such comparisons are even being made says a lot about how people are starting to view them. And then come the nicknames. Labels like modern-day Bonnie and Clyde have started circulating in fan discussions, not as facts, but as expressions of frustration and suspicion. It reflects a growing belief that Cody and Robyn may have operated as a united front, possibly prioritizing their own stability over the rest of the family. Again, it's speculation. But it's loud speculation. And it's being fueled by more than just assumptions. It's being fueled by spending habits that are hard to ignore. Reports have surfaced claiming thousands of dollars spent on art collections, high-end jewelry, and luxury accessories. Cody himself has been seen wearing expensive pieces, including designer necklaces and watches that cost more than what some families earn in months. And Robyn? Well, one of the most shocking claims circulating involves an alleged $70,000 spent on collectible dolls and custom clothing for them. Yes, dolls. Whether every detail of that figure is accurate or not, the number itself has become symbolic of what fans see as excessive, almost unbelievable spending. Because when you place that next to the struggles of the rest of the family, it creates a very uncomfortable contrast. And that contrast is what's driving the backlash. Fans aren't just questioning decisions anymore, they're questioning intentions. Was this simply poor financial management? Or was there something more deliberate behind it all? At the same time, the timing of everything feels suspicious to many. As relationships began to break down, as wives started to leave, as the family structure weakened, those luxury patterns didn't slow down. If anything, they became more noticeable. And now that things are falling apart publicly, people are looking back and wondering if the signs were there all along. Because sometimes, it's not just about what you see in the moment. It's about what it all means once the illusion starts to fade. Just when it seemed like the financial drama couldn't get any more complicated, a new twist entered the picture, one that has left fans both confused and suspicious at the same time. And it all revolves around one thing: land. More specifically, the infamous Coyote Pass property that has been a central piece of the Brown family's future for years. For a long time, that land symbolized hope. It was supposed to be the place where the family would finally come together, build their homes, and create a shared future. But instead, it slowly turned into a symbol of division, delays, and broken promises. And now, the way it's being handled is raising more questions than answers. Recently, Kody Brown made a move that caught everyone off guard. He reportedly adjusted the distribution of the land, giving larger portions to some of his former wives, including Janelle Brown and Mary Brown. On the surface, this might look like a step toward fairness. Maybe even a sign of growth. A way of making things right after years of imbalance. But there's one detail that fans can't ignore. Christine Brown was not included in the same way. And that's where things start to feel intentional. Because Christine, as many viewers know, was one of the first to truly walk away and build a life outside of Cody's control. She didn't just separate emotionally, she made a clean break. So now, fans are asking, was this land decision really about fairness? Or was it influenced by who stayed, who left, and who still had leverage? Some believe this move could be tied to something even bigger. There are growing theories that Cody may be feeling pressure, possibly legal, possibly financial, and that redistributing assets could be a way to protect himself. Again, there's no confirmed evidence of legal action. But the timing of these decisions, especially during a period of public scrutiny and family breakdown, has people talking. A lot. Because if everything was truly stable behind the scenes, why make such sudden changes now? Why shift ownership, offer larger shares, and potentially give up control of something that was once so important to him? For some, it feels less like generosity and more like strategy. And then there's the bigger picture. The image of Cody and Robyn Brown as the stable core of the family is starting to crack. These kinds of decisions don't just affect finances, they affect trust. They affect how the past is viewed, how relationships are interpreted, and how future actions will be judged. Because when people start to feel like things weren't handled equally or transparently, it opens the door to doubt. And once that doubt sets in, it spreads quickly. Fans are now reevaluating everything from past arguments to financial choices, from emotional dynamics to major decisions like this one. The land at Coyote Pass was never just about property. It was about unity, legacy, and the promise of something lasting. But now, it's starting to look more like a final dividing line. A quiet confirmation that whatever this family once had may already be gone. Then came a moment that no fan could have fully prepared for, a heartbreak that shook the Brown family to its core. In March of 2024, Garrison Brown, the youngest of Cody's sons with Janelle Brown, tragically died by suicide at just 25 years old. The news sent shockwaves not only through the family, but also across the show's fan base. For viewers who had followed this family for decades, it was a tragedy that felt impossible to digest. Garrison's death didn't just bring grief, it exposed cracks in the family that had been quietly forming for years. The reactions of each wife were telling, revealing dynamics that had long been simmering under the surface. While Janelle and Mary rushed to provide comfort and support, Robyn Brown's response was starkly different. Fans noticed almost immediately that her reaction lacked the empathy and sorrow one might expect in such circumstances. Where others grieved openly, Robyn's demeanor was distant, almost clinical. Her focus seemed more on Cody than on the loss of his child. This detachment did not go unnoticed. Social media lit up with speculation and critique. Longtime viewers pointed out that Robyn had never fully accepted Cody's other children as her own. Unlike Mary Brown, Janelle, or Christine, who consistently treated all 18 children with maternal care, Robyn seemed to operate in a bubble, prioritizing Cody and her own children above the rest. The contrast between Robyn's distance and Mary's compassion was stark. In one filmed moment, Mary received a phone call from Cody and immediately understood the urgency. She didn't hesitate. She rushed to their home, finding Cody in a heavy silence, while Christine's daughter Gwendolyn sat quietly nearby. The camera lingered on that scene, letting the tension and heartbreak resonate. Fans could feel the weight of the room, and the differences between Mary and Robyn became painfully clear. This moment reignited discussions about Robyn's place in the family. Her coldness in the face of tragedy, combined with years of high-profile extravagance, fueled the perception that she was more concerned with appearances and personal gain than with genuine family bonds. Meanwhile, Mary, whose warmth had been a stabilizing force for years, reminded viewers of what the family could have been if trust and emotional openness had been nurtured equally. For Cody, this tragedy was a turning point. Amid the public scrutiny and private heartbreak, he began to reflect on his own role in the family's fractures. Fans watched as he admitted vulnerabilities rarely seen on camera, regret over emotional distance, mismanagement of relationships, and the weight of past decisions that had left him isolated from some of his children. The tragedy also highlighted the generational impact of the family's dynamics. Garrison's death wasn't just a loss, it was a mirror reflecting long-standing tensions, unresolved conflicts, and the consequences of choices made decades ago. Each wife, each child, was now forced to confront the reality that the family they had built, both in public and behind closed doors, was fragile and deeply flawed. And so, in the shadow of heartbreak, viewers began to see a different picture of the Browns. It wasn't the idealized, close-knit polygamous family portrayed in early seasons. It was a family struggling with loss, division, and the consequences of unchecked dynamics. As the aftermath of Garrison's death settled over the Brown family, the emotional contrasts among the wives became impossible to ignore. Robyn Brown's detachment was widely discussed online, and for good reason. While social media and fans alike had long critiqued her lavish spending habits and focus on personal gain, this moment revealed something deeper, a fundamental disconnect from the grief that consumed the rest of the family. She seemed absorbed in Cody's feelings rather than acknowledging the pain of his lost child, a stance that many found chilling. Meanwhile, Mary Brown and Janelle Brown responded instinctively, demonstrating what many called the emotional backbone of the family. When Cody reached out to Mary about the tragedy, she didn't hesitate. She immediately went to Cody and Robyn's home, arriving to find Christine's daughter, Gwendolyn, sitting silently, overwhelmed by the weight of the loss. Mary's instinctive response, her compassion and urgency, provided a stark contrast to Robyn's measured, almost cold approach. Fans watching felt the contrast in real time, the warmth of Mary and the aloofness of Robyn. Reddit threads exploded, with viewers dissecting every moment of the family's interactions. Many argued that Robyn's apparent detachment was not just emotional, but structural, a symptom of years of prioritizing appearances and personal comfort over the collective well-being of the family. Comments ranged from shock to outright anger. How could a stepmother, someone who had pledged loyalty and care to all of Cody's children, remain so distant in such a pivotal moment? The criticism was sharp, unrelenting, and it further fueled speculation about Robyn's true motivations. Yet while Robyn's coldness became the focal point, Mary and Janelle's reactions reminded viewers of the family's potential for connection. Their presence underscored what many had suspected all along: love and grief are not just shared in titles or bloodlines, but in consistent actions. Mary's quick phone call to Janelle, her decision to show up physically, demonstrated the emotional labor she had consistently carried throughout her marriages. Janelle, equally invested, responded without hesitation, creating a unified front of support that made Robyn's detachment even more glaring. This dichotomy between wives wasn't just a personal matter, it became a narrative for fans of the show. Robyn, often painted as the villain wife, now had her actions contextualized in one of the most tragic family moments in the show's history. Meanwhile, Mary and Janelle's warmth elevated them as the moral center of the narrative, embodying what viewers wanted the Browns to be: empathetic, responsive, and emotionally available. For Cody, these contrasting dynamics likely created inner conflict. He was grieving, yes, but he was also forced to confront the reality of his relationships, that not all of his marriages were equal in care, investment, and empathy. His affection for Robyn, previously a source of tension with the other wives, now sat against the backdrop of a devastating loss, highlighting the costs of favoritism and emotional imbalance within a plural marriage. This tragedy, combined with Robyn's detachment, became a turning point in how viewers perceived the family. The emotional fractures, previously hinted at in small quarrels or spending controversies, were now fully exposed. Fans could see, clearly and unflinchingly, that the Browns were not just navigating polygamy, they were navigating heartbreak, resentment, and the consequences of emotional neglect. Amid this, a quiet but powerful truth emerged: love, presence, and empathy cannot be manufactured. Robyn's detachment, Mary and Janelle's instinctive care, and Cody's own vulnerability all created a complex mosaic of a family struggling to survive emotionally. And in this chaos, fans began to question whether the Browns could ever fully heal, or whether these cracks were permanent scars on the family legacy. As the grief from Garrison's death continued to ripple through the Brown family, Cody's own emotional walls began to crack. For years, he had carefully curated a balance among his 4 marriages, attempting to manage affection, attention, and expectations. But in season 19, viewers witnessed the consequences of that strategy. Cody admitted that the very rules meant to protect harmony, refraining from public displays of affection, limiting emotional openness, had instead isolated him from those who mattered most. His confession was startling. In his effort to maintain peace, he had unintentionally blocked love from entering fully into his marriages. Robyn, the 4th wife, openly reflected on this dynamic. She confirmed what fans had long suspected: the restrictions on affection created loneliness and emotional distance. She admitted that over time, she had grown accustomed to receiving Cody's undivided attention, validating suspicions that her bond with him had overshadowed the other marriages. This acknowledgement shed light on past tensions that had often been attributed to jealousy or personality clashes. In reality, the issue was structural, a family-wide experiment in emotional management that had backfired spectacularly. Meanwhile, Janelle and Mary offered perspectives that highlighted the human cost of these decisions. Janelle was blunt: rules around affection should never have existed. Every couple, she argued, should be allowed to express intimacy in a way that works for them without creating tension for others. Mary, more introspective, explained that her tolerance for Cody's public displays of affection had always depended on the state of her own marriage. When things were good, she didn't mind. But as their bond eroded over time, so did her patience. Her insight painted a vivid picture of how emotional neglect can compound over decades, slowly transforming love into resentment. Cody's acknowledgement of incompatibility with Mary was another revelation. Rather than part ways when cracks first appeared, he had attempted to maintain all 4 marriages in the hope that polygamy itself could repair what was broken. Now, after decades of struggle and heartbreak, that dream was formally ending. In one of the season's most emotional scenes, Cody and Mary shared a private goodbye. Their exchange was layered with sadness, nostalgia, and the weight of 32 years together. "Mary, it's the end of an era." "We had something," Cody whispered. Mary's nod confirmed the mutual recognition of loss, a moment that left viewers questioning whether these tears reflected true heartbreak or the relief of closure. Through this lens, Robyn's position became even more complex. Her focus on Cody, combined with the lack of emotional engagement with his other children, highlighted the unintended consequences of favoritism. Meanwhile, Mary and Janelle's proactive care underscored their ongoing roles as emotional anchors in a fractured family. Fans watching saw the contrast in stark relief. Loyalty and love were measured not by titles, but by actions and presence during moments of crisis. The season also revealed Kody's efforts to rebuild bridges with his older children. Previously, he had expected them to approach him to seek reconciliation on their own. But he gradually recognized his failure to be an emotional safe space for them. By reaching out and attempting to repair relationships, Kody demonstrated growth and vulnerability, a side of him rarely seen before. This acknowledgement of personal and familial shortcomings marked a turning point in the narrative. The Brown family, long defined by spectacle, lavish spending, and polygamous dynamics, was now revealed in raw, emotional detail. Love, grief, and regret intertwined, leaving viewers to grapple with the reality that even the most structured family systems cannot shield themselves from human heartbreak. The stage was set for further revelations as Kody's admissions of mismanaged affection, favoritism, and loss created an opening for honest dialogue. The remaining episodes promise to explore whether these fissures could ever be fully mended, or if the emotional cost of decades of complex family dynamics was too high to overcome. Season 19 continued to peel back the layers of Kody Brown's complicated world, revealing the emotional toll his choices had taken not only on himself, but on everyone around him. Kody's bond with Robyn, while undeniably strong, created a ripple effect across the family, particularly for the children. His unwavering attention to Robyn in public and private often left the other kids feeling invisible, fueling resentment and confusion. Fans on Reddit and social media were quick to note how the children's discomfort mirrored what insiders had long suspected. Kody's favoritism toward Robyn was reshaping family dynamics in real time. In several poignant episodes, viewers witnessed the children's struggle to navigate this uneven distribution of affection. Some children sought validation, reaching for parental attention that was difficult to claim in a household of 4 wives and 18 kids. Kody admitted on camera that his focus on Robyn had unintentionally marginalized the others. He confessed, voice heavy with emotion, that he feared the damage might be irreversible, but he was determined to try. These moments of vulnerability offered a rare glimpse of Kody's humanity, an acknowledgement that he had misstepped in his role as father, husband, and patriarch. Amid the tension, Robyn's position remained complex. She was loving and attentive toward her own children, yet her emotional distance from the rest of Kody's kids became increasingly apparent. Social media fans pointed to this as a defining moment. The stark contrast between her behavior and that of Mary or Janelle highlighted how favoritism can shape perceptions of family cohesion. Robyn herself admitted that her comfort in Kody's attention had blinded her to the growing gaps within the household. It was a revelation that left longtime viewers questioning whether her role in the family was rooted in love, strategy, or survival. Meanwhile, Kody sought to repair bridges wherever possible. He spent time reconnecting with older children, revisiting unresolved conflicts, and openly acknowledging past mistakes. These attempts at reconciliation were not without challenges. Decades of miscommunication, unaddressed grievances, and emotional neglect could not simply be erased. Yet the effort itself signaled a shift in Kody's approach, one that embraced accountability, transparency, and the importance of being present for his children. The show also highlighted the stark difference in crisis response between Robyn and the original wives. While Robyn maintained her distance during moments of grief, Mary and Janelle exemplified emotional immediacy, rushing to support children and each other alike. Their presence underscored a recurring theme: love is measured in action, not words. Viewers were reminded that while the family's structure might be unconventional, genuine care and compassion remain central to its survival. In quieter moments, Kody reflected on his own journey. His public persona, once confident and commanding, had softened into introspection and humility. He admitted that grief, regret, and loss had reshaped his priorities. Where once he focused on maintaining control and balance across 4 marriages, he now recognized the importance of emotional availability. This growth was not easy. It came with pain, awkward confrontations, and moments of vulnerability rarely seen on reality television. Amid the sorrow, glimpses of healing emerged. Small family dinners, shared laughter, and candid conversations hinted at the potential for renewed bonds. Even Robyn, for all her flaws and distance, was included in these moments, revealing that while fractured, the family was not beyond repair. As the season progressed, it became clear that season 19 of Sister Wives was less about scandal and spectacle and more about the intricate human cost of polygamy, favoritism, and grief. Kody's journey toward understanding, redemption, and reconnection promised to leave a lasting impact, not only on the family, but on viewers witnessing the raw truth behind the cameras. As season 19 unfolded, Kody Brown's journey took a reflective turn, bringing the family back to the roots of his own past in Wyoming. It was a trip filled with nostalgia, memories, and moments of levity that contrasted sharply with the heaviness of recent tragedies. Kody guided Robyn and their children through the streets of his hometown, sharing stories of a life that existed before cameras, camera scripts, and the complex dynamics of polygamy. It was here that the audience saw a side of Kody rarely visible on screen, a man deeply aware of his own history, striving to impart lessons to his children while simultaneously processing his own grief. Kody's narration highlighted a family legacy intertwined with the American West. He spoke of his father, a scout with the U.S. Army who had connections with legendary figures like Sitting Bull and toured with Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. The historical anecdotes weren't merely a history lesson. They became a framework for the children to understand Kody's identity, the values of resilience, and the importance of humor, storytelling, and entertainment in shaping a life. For the first time in many episodes, laughter erupted around the table, a sharp contrast to the recent episodes dominated by grief and tension. Robyn's laughter punctuated the stories, teasing Kody about his dramatic flair, and the children's eyes lit up as they absorbed the family history in a playful, almost enchanted atmosphere. Yet beneath the humor and nostalgia, the underlying tension of season 19 was never far away. Kody's relationships with his children and ex-wives remained a central narrative thread, each moment revealing the complex web of emotional loyalty, resentment, and love. In interviews, Kody admitted that revisiting his hometown was a form of therapy, a way to reconcile his current family dynamics with his past experiences. For him, showing his children the streets, local landmarks, and even small businesses where he once painted signs was a way to connect legacy with present reality, giving them a sense of continuity amid upheaval. At dinner, the family shared stories of Kody's youth, his father's admiration for showmanship, and his early attempts at entertaining crowds, a trait Kody claimed he inherited. He confessed with a smirk that he tried to entertain the children the same way, even in moments of grief. Robyn joked along, teasing that Kody probably considered himself the next Buffalo Bill, a claim that drew laughter and a rare sense of light-hearted unity. The scene offered viewers an intimate glimpse of the Browns outside the pressures of cameras and scripted drama. This Wyoming trip also underscored Kody's ongoing struggle with polygamy. While the historical context brought levity, it highlighted the persistent conflict between tradition and the emotional realities of maintaining multiple marriages. Kody's love for Robyn, his nostalgia for simpler times, and his efforts to repair strained family relationships collided in complex ways, creating both hope and tension. Ultimately, this visit was emblematic of season 19's broader theme, the search for balance, connection, and reconciliation. It revealed that even in the wake of tragedy, there is room for growth, understanding, and fleeting moments of joy. Kody's reflections, the laughter shared, and the stories told formed a temporary bridge over the chasm of grief and discord that had long haunted the Brown family. The Wyoming episodes left viewers with a profound realization. Despite the fractures, the family's past, identity, and shared memories could still serve as a guidepost, teaching lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the complexities of love. It was a reminder that, even amid chaos, moments of clarity and connection can illuminate the path forward. Season 19 of Sister Wives culminated in a deeply introspective chapter, one that forced Kody Brown to confront the totality of his choices, his grief, and the unraveling of a life once held together by faith, tradition, and the delicate balance of polygamy. The Wyoming trip, the reconnections with children and ex-wives, and the emotional turbulence following Garrison's death set the stage for a reckoning that was as personal as it was public. Cody, once celebrated for balancing 4 marriages, now had to navigate the ruins of relationships, the expectations of children, and his own evolving sense of identity. The most poignant moments came during private, unfiltered conversations with his remaining wives, particularly Robyn. Their relationship, once an open secret among fans for its intensity and favoritism, was now laid bare. Cody admitted to the cameras that his affection for Robyn had inadvertently driven wedges between him and his other children. The love he displayed for her publicly, the attention lavished in ways the other wives and kids could not match, had consequences. It shaped resentments, misunderstandings, and an emotional chasm he could not fully bridge. "I realize now that my choice to show love in front of everyone may have hurt more than it helped," he confessed, visibly shaken. "I didn't intend to favor her over the others, but intentions don't erase feelings." Meanwhile, the echoes of Garrison's death continued to reverberate. Cody's raw vulnerability was on full display as he recounted visiting his son's ashes, grappling with the permanent absence of laughter, advice, and everyday moments he would never reclaim. He openly wept as he reflected on lost opportunities to connect, to repair, and to simply exist as a father without the weight of unresolved tension. The audience saw a man stripped of bravado, confronting mortality, love, and failure with unfiltered honesty. "Sometimes, the weight hits me like a wave," he admitted. "I think about the little things I'll never get back, the jokes, the arguments, the hugs, all gone." Amid grief, however, there were glimpses of hope. Cody's willingness to extend himself to his older children, to bridge the gaps, marked a new chapter in family dynamics. He began to take responsibility for initiating connections rather than waiting for apologies or reconciliation to come from them. It was a slow, uneven process, fraught with tension and hesitation, but each step demonstrated growth, accountability, and a desire to heal. His efforts were not just about mending relationships. They were about creating a legacy of love that could survive beyond mistakes, heartbreak, and public scrutiny. Cody also confronted the broader reality of his polygamy journey. In one of the series' most shocking moments, he declared unequivocally that he would never pursue polygamy again. Surviving 3 divorces, witnessing the pain of favoritism, navigating the fallout of favoritism, and enduring the tragedy of losing a son had reshaped his view on love, marriage, and personal responsibility. He admitted that the experiment, which once promised spiritual fulfillment and communal connection, had become a lesson in restraint, clarity, and emotional honesty. As season 19 closed, viewers were left with a portrait of a man transformed by loss, reflection, and the burdens of choice. Kody Brown, once a symbol of plural love, emerged as a man striving for reconciliation, honesty, and emotional integrity. The Brown family's story, steeped in drama, grief, and spectacle, now offered an intimate meditation on the costs of love, the weight of legacy, and the painful, yet necessary, journey toward closure. Season 19 ended not with the fireworks of drama, but with the quiet, painful, and human truths of a father, a husband, and a man who had seen both the extremes of fortune and the depths of loss, and was now finally trying to find a path forward.